You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, the Celtics conclude their four-game road trip with a 30-point capital letters blowout victory over the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta Monday night. Once again, no Jaylen Brown, no problem, but how long are the Celtics going to be without Brown? We do welcome you into our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime play-by-play announcer on the basketball side, former national show host with ESPN and satellite radio. Watched Celtics games as a kid on a black and white TV. You're right where you need to be. You're locked on with the Locked On Celtics postcast. We are providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as the Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. With our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to discuss Jayson Tatum with another fast start. A career first for Mr. Queta, and Joe Mazzulla once again doing a terrific job with his bench. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation. Watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button. Join the Celtics conversation. Give us your one random thought on the Celtics' road victory against the Hawks in Atlanta. You can also hit me up on the X at Lennox on Hoops with questions, comments, or concerns. This episode of the Locked On Celtics postcast brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We get to your comments on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel in just a few moments. Again, no Jaylen Brown, out for a second straight game, dealing with a hip flexor strain. So we saw Luke Kornet make back-to-back starts in the two games against the Hornets, with Horford missing Friday night with load management. Brown out of the lineup as the Celtics completed the two-game sweep over the Hornets on Saturday with the back-to-back victories. But Neemias Queta gets his first career start Monday night, and he was solid in the Celtics' 30-point win. Celtics, again, without Jaylen Brown, the Hawks have dealt with their share of injuries. They ended a four-game losing streak with a victory on Sunday against the Pelicans in New Orleans, 2-2 at home, 1-2 on the road, entering Monday night's matchup against the Celtics. And Queta, strong start, just like the Celtics. Alley-oop, dunk, assist for Drew Holiday on the Celtics' first basket of the game. Horford had a three to give the Celtics a 10-8 advantage early on. Tatum then knocked down a three to put the Celtics up again at 13-11. Tatum hit on a three. Celtics lead at 5 at that point, an 8-2 run, and they just kept going. Celtics knocked down 4 of their first 7 three-point attempts in the game. Pritchard, how about that? Xavier Tillman getting an opportunity early on in the first quarter. Pritchard layup on a backdoor. Trae Young missed on a three-pointer. Pritchard, bang, knocked down a three, 27-21 in favor of the Celtics in the first quarter. Tatum had a great take. Got the finish at the rim, got the and one, missed the free throw. Celtics under 3 up 5, and then they went from there. Tatum, a three from up top, 32-24. Celtics, Jayson Tatum, love him. Love watching him, especially in the first quarter. He's the top scorer in the NBA in the first quarter of this season. 16 points, 4 threes in the first quarter. Joe Mazzulla, we'll touch on the bench more, but Joe Mazzulla played 5 different players off the bench in the first quarter, including Tillman. We touched on it Saturday. Asked about the Celtics bigs. And a 3-headed or 4-headed monster, however you want to put it. They all add different things. And Tillman, one of those guys who can provide an assist, did it on the backdoor to Pritchard in that first quarter. 4 different players knocked down a 3 in the first quarter for those Celtics. They were 7 of 17 in the first quarter. Trey Young, we'll get into him in the second segment. 1 of 6, 0 of 3 behind the three-point arc in the first quarter. Tatum, 6 of 8, 4 3, 16 in the first quarter. Jayson Tatum in the first quarter. I went back and looked at it. You ready? Opener against the Knicks, 15 in the first. Wizards, 14 in the first. Pistons, 17 in the first. Back-to-back games, single digits against the Bucks and Pacers last week. Hornets, 16 and 13 in the first quarter in the 2 games over the weekend, and 16 against the Atlanta Hawks. He had 26 of his 28 in the first half. Didn't play a whole heck of a lot. I don't even know if he got on the floor in the fourth quarter. I didn't check that at the outset. But the Celtics just terrific in that first quarter. Tatum, again, just did a lot of different things. More of the same. We'll get into the second quarter in just a moment. Let's hit some notes. Pascal, tip of the cap. Great to see you. Mike, good to be back. What a dominating win. White, Holiday, locked up Trae when he was out there. Yeah, I mean, Trae, I don't know what the Atlanta Hawks do with him. The contract, everything that would have to be worked out, the trade. And Brian Scalabrine said it a couple times. What do you make of the Atlanta Hawks? Again, dealing with injuries, yes. First-round pick, big guy, looks like he's going to be a player. Ricochet, right? But right now, everything clicking across the board. Everything clicking. And you just kind of go from here. 7-1 start to the season, 6 of your first 8 on the road, and you've won 7 of your first 8. But Tatum in the first quarter has been outstanding. Queta, first NBA player from Portugal. Drew Carter, Brian Scalabrine, first NBC Sports Boston reference. They touched on that. First Portuguese-born player to play in the NBA, first to make his first career start. And he was solid. Again, he gives you such great length. 25 years old, and there's real upside here with Queta. Got the start, 23-plus minutes, 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 2 at the line, 7 rebounds total. One of his offensive rebounds on a Horford miss on a 3 in the second half. Put it down for the dunk. Had a steal, a block, 10 points. His plus-minus, everyone impressive with a plus-minus, but his plus-minus again was 31. Plus 31. The guy just continues to learn and build. And a nice little confidence booster, I think, in terms of being able to go out there and start in an NBA game for the first time in his career. Second quarter, Celtics blew it open, and it wasn't a game in the second half. Pritchard hit his second 3 of the game. First basket of the second quarter for the Celtics. Hawks did have an 11-3 start, up 41-38. Out of the timeout, ball game over. Derek White opened 3 up top, tied the game at 41. Hawks hit a 3. Pritchard able to answer. Game at that point played on the 3-point line. Holiday to Hauser, moving on the baseline layup. Celtics go up 46-44. Holiday a 3, then a layup. Technical foul during a timeout. Celtics an 11-0 run over a minute 15. That's what it was in the second quarter, and they were far from done. Under 6 to go in the second quarter. Tatum a 3, 15-3 run. Tatum at that point, 5 threes, 19 points. Tatum had a 3 and then an and 1 situation, part of a 26-5 run in the second quarter. Final minute, again. Veteran team against a team that's just 5 guys on the floor. I thought it was that way at points in time. I don't know if you can compare LaMelo Ball and Trey Young right now, but Young was 1 of 9, 0 of 6 on threes, 2 points in the first half. Drew Carter said it. His streak, which was an active NBA streak, games with double figures, that ended in Monday's game. That came to an end, an absolute end. And as Mike mentioned, White and Holiday, big part of shutting down Trey Young. Young, they did mention in the second half, wasn't going to return to the game. At that point, he was going to return anyway, but something with his ribs. Could have an injury. But let's bookmark this. Atlanta and the Celtics, they play again over the next couple of weeks, but let's see if there's some news on Trey Young. It's not working in Atlanta. It hasn't worked in Atlanta. Gotten close, haven't gotten to the top of the mountain. When I say top of the mountain in the NBA, that means get to the conference finals. Then you go from there. Celtics got to the top of the mountain last June. You make it to the NBA conference finals, you've really succeeded. You're one of 4 teams left. But the Hawks and Trey Young, I just don't see it happening. I really don't. They've had they've had Collins, they've had Murray in the past. They're gone, long gone. Now you've got new players in there. But I just don't know that it works. I really don't know that it works. And I think similar with LaMelo Ball in Charlotte as well. But in that final minute of the second quarter, Derek White, again, early in the quarter out of a timeout, knocking down a 3. Derek White hit a 3 in the final minute. Celtics plus 19. Then in the closing seconds, Celtics are very good. This might be the first time we're mentioning this. And you may know better than me. You might say, yeah, okay, Lennox. Yeah, welcome to the party. They are great. You know, say Pritchard at the buzzer, shot clock winding down at the end of the quarter. That's one thing. But the Celtics are very good with clock management in the final minute, going for that 2-for-1. So White hit a 3 to go up 19, closing seconds, last shot opportunity. Derek White knocked down another 3. He had 12 in the second quarter. Celtics into the locker room, up 22. And they added on in the third. And up 22, you think, okay, the Hornets did it. They came out in the third quarter, but not Atlanta. First 2 minutes, Horford had a couple of free throws, but the Hawks in the first 2 minutes, 0 for 4, 0 of 2 on threes. I think it was over in the second quarter, but at that point in time, they're not cutting it down. They're not getting close. They didn't get up below 15, I don't believe. Hawks did score 5 in a row. White a 3, Horford a basket, up 24. Horford missed. I mentioned the Queta duck. Horford missed on a 3. Queta had the follow-up dunk, up 26 at that point in time. Drew Holiday a basket to go up 30, 90-60. Up 103-75 going to the fourth quarter. 8 different players for the Celtics had a made field goal in that third quarter. Horford led the way with 6. So a terrific win. 7-1, 3-1 road trip. Your only loss, overtime loss to the Pacers last Wednesday in Indianapolis. And in that game, in the fourth quarter, you were down by 24, I believe it was, in the third. You were down midpoint, but you came back. You're 14 down at the start of the fourth. You tied it up, went to overtime, lost. It's your only blemish right now? Come on. It's kind of laughable right now. It really is. Pascal, wonder how Trae would work with the Spurs. He and Wemby would be something to watch. Yeah. And you'd think Popovich maybe another year or two. I don't know how much weight you put into Popovich as the head coach there, but maybe he buys in. I mean, he's a double-double every night. Points and assists. He gets his. But even, just the shot selection on occasion, it looked like 5 guys out on the floor for Atlanta and not a whole heck of a lot. We'll get more into Trey Young. We'll have our NBA random thoughts, dubbing that now. But the Celtics out and running. Brian Scalabrine mentioned it several times throughout. The Celtics in the first half. That's one of our headlines, out and running. The Celtics, 22-0. Fast break points in the first 24 minutes. 20 points off turnovers. You're beating a bad team. Those are the numbers that you look at. Celtics, 15 threes in the first half. Big part of it again. Hawks, 4 of 20. 4 of 20. And right now, you look at it, the number of threes the Celtics take. They took more threes than 2-point shots tonight again. You've got to outshoot the Celtics. Good luck doing that on any given night. Mike, again, checking in. Scout said it best. Teams can focus on removing the three-point line for the Celtics, and then the Celtics adjust. Pick you apart in the paint. Yeah. It used to be work, establish inside to work outside. Now it's sort of the opposite. Ball's thrown up, start launching threes. And I'm going to have a Danny Ainge thought on the other side coming up in our second segment. Danny Ainge, NBA Random Thoughts update on the perfect going into Monday night Cleveland Cavaliers. That's next. Celtics by 30 on the road in Atlanta, 123-93. Glad you're with us. Locked On Celtics Postcast, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. This Locked On Celtics Postcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of everything, and in this crazy world, that is not easy. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Keep the comments running and coming. If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as always, word of mouth advertising is the best advertising. Tell your friends about us. We are on after each and every Celtics game throughout the regular season, and we do believe right now a deep run into June with perhaps a second straight NBA title. Want to acknowledge our everydayers for making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales and the Locked On Celtics postcast their first listen. So Celtics pick up the victory, 7-1 on the season. We try to go no stat zone as much as possible here in segment number 2. 6 of the Celtics' first 8 games on the road, team 7-1, with Monday's victory against the Hawks in Atlanta. Celtics now 2-0 without Jaylen Brown. Celtics up by 5, 35-30. Up by 22, extended that lead to 28 after 3, and pick up the win. And for the first time this season, actually, we'll hold off on that one. I'll complete that thought coming up, numbers of the night, in segment number 3. So, Queta in the lineup. Jaylen Brown missing a second straight game. You're off to a 7-1 start. I'm sure Joe Mazzulla didn't see any. I didn't really go deep into the X, formerly known as Twitter, prior to the game, on Jaylen Brown and his status after Saturday. It was day-to-day with the hip flexor. But right now, you're 7-1. I'm not going to say you're playing with house money, but he needs to be as close to 100% as he can be when he returns to the lineup. You don't want this thing lingering into December, January, February, into March. So you have it on your side right now. Next man up. The Celtics bench right now is a huge part, should be a huge part of the narrative right now with this team. Jayson Tatum is playing outstanding basketball through the first 8 games of the season. But the Celtics bench and what it's done and how it is establishing themselves, I mean, in terms, again, 5 different players came off the bench in the first quarter. Queta, first NBA career start. Kornet, not a lot tonight. Tillman got in there in the first quarter, had a nice assist on a backdoor. We'll go into more numbers, but the bench right now, national narrative, Celtics will be on national TV plenty. But right now with this team, the way the bench is playing, it's a huge part of the narrative. Around the league with my 3 random thoughts, going to give a little scoreboard update as well. Pacers and Mavericks in Dallas tonight. Pacers 2-4. With one of their 2 victories against the Celtics. That was an overtime win at home where they were up by as many as 24 in the second half, blew that fourth quarter lead. Pacers, a good example right now of teams with expectations getting off to slow starts, and they're not the only one right now. And a message to teams right now below 500 around the league. Don't dig yourself into too big of a hole. You may have seen this over the weekend. Joel Embiid needs to get out of Philadelphia. That's the random thought there. Cavaliers started the night 7-0 to start the season. Celtics will host the Cavaliers, in case you want to look ahead, on November 19th, just before our Thanksgiving holiday. Cavaliers, in case you were wondering, opened up the season 8-0 back in 1976. Some might remember that like it was yesterday. So the Cavaliers, and speaking of one of the teams digging themselves into an early hole, Cavaliers, Milwaukee Bucks. I don't really go back and forth between games. I was actually following a couple of college games with my play-by-play season about to get underway with Quinnipiac University in Hamden, Connecticut. Both the men's and women's teams were in action, so I was scoreboard watching with them during the Celtics game. But the Bucks and Cavaliers game from Monday night, well, it was a pretty good game. Cavaliers win it by 2, 116-114. By the way, no Giannis for the Bucks. Damian Lillard, 36. On the other side, Darius Garland, 7 threes, 39. So the Cavaliers keep winning. Cavaliers are now 8-0 on the season. That, we know, is impressive. Again, first matchup of the season, Cavaliers-Celtics. Celtics will be home in Boston on November 19th against Cleveland. Thunder against Orlando tonight. Nope. Paolo Banchero for quite a while for the Orlando Magic. Back-to-back nights from the Magic. Lost in Dallas against the Mavericks and Luka on Sunday. But the Thunder trying to improve to 7-0 with a win tonight. And later tonight, Paul George is going to make his Sixers debut. Sixers on the road in Phoenix against the Suns, who have opened up at 5-1 on the season. So random thoughts and a little scoreboard watching because we just want to pay attention to what else is going on around the league as well. What's going on with the Celtics? 123-93 victory against the Atlanta Hawks. And the rookie, Risa Shea, 15, Johnson, 20. Yeah, I'm going into some numbers here. We'll do more of that coming up in our third segment as well. Keep the comments going if you are with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Trying to put some things together here. There we go. Hey, let's hit a couple of comments here. Favorite moment of the game from Mike. Al, thank you, Mike. They had it. Al Horford. It was in the second half. He had a block on the three-point line. I don't know if the shooter was behind the three-point line, but it was close. But he had a block. Mike's favorite moment of the night, Al Horford, reverse layup with the shot clock winding down. Yeah, the fountain of youth. They did a great job. They found Al Horford's mom. They had a nice interview with her. Abby Chin was a sideline reporter on NBC Sports Boston. And she did a nice job with that interview in the first half with Al Horford's mom. Al Horford's been in the league a long, long time. You know what that says? It says I'm old. Pascal, second unit, embraced their roles, made a difference. Still not scared of the Cavs. Pascal, appreciate checking in. Coming up, numbers of the night. We're going to look ahead. Guess what's circled on the calendar, and it's coming Wednesday. Yeah, it's go time against Kerr and the Warriors. We'll discuss that coming up next. Steve Lennox, Locked On Celtics postcast. Celtics by 30 on the road in the ATL. Locked On Celtics postcast, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, presented by FanDuel. Get ready to take the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you pick up a win with that first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get one of your hunches in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You can get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, numbers of the night here in just a moment. Again, John Corrales will have Locked On Celtics as well coming up in the overnight, and that can be your first listen, just like Locked On Sports Celtics postcast as well. Celtics now 7-1 with the victory Monday in Atlanta. We'll get into the box score here in just a moment. Celtics had 40 points in the second quarter, up by 22. 75-73 at the half. Celtics with a season high 75 points in the first half. Third time this season they've had 70 or more after the first 24 minutes of play. 74 points opening night in the victory against the Knicks at TD Garden. And then 71 last Friday in a victory against the Hornets in Charlotte. So the Celtics 35, 40, and 25. And, 100 or more points through three for the second time this season. And the Celtics doing a terrific job against the Atlanta Hawks, because the Hawks, you think in the fourth quarter the Hawks might make a little bit of a run, right? Well, Atlanta, 30 points and down 5 after 1. They scored just 23 points in the second quarter, 22 in the third. Again, the Celtics up 5, extended the lead at halftime and then through 3 quarters. And then Atlanta held to just 18 points, right, in the fourth quarter as well. So, 18 points in the fourth quarter, 20-18. Celtics outscored Atlanta in every quarter. And for the first time this season, this is where I finished my thought from segment number 2. I did stats in the no stat zone in segment number 2. Shame on me. But the Celtics, for the first time, they were close to doing it against the Hornets on Saturday. You know where I'm going here. First time this season where an opponent has not hit the century mark. Atlanta, just 93 points total. Celtics, 18 threes. 55 three-point attempts. to 31 for the Atlanta Hawks. Celtics took 99 shots, made 48 field goals. So they hit 30 shots inside the three-point line. Again, as we touched on earlier, it used to be, I'm going to get to a Danny Ainge point here. It used to be inside, outside, establish in so you could work outside. I go back to the 1980s, and Danny Ainge was my favorite Celtics player. Danny Ainge wasn't the only one. I say this tongue-in-cheek, somewhat sarcastically, but he did it. Fast break, Ainge would have been great present day as a player. Because fast break, Ainge go to the three-point line, they found him, boom, he'd throw it up in the first handful of seconds of the shot clock. That's present-day NBA. Not always early in the shot clock, but in transition, 3 better than a 2. 99 shots, 55 threes. They took 55 threes compared to 31 for the Atlanta Hawks. You're just not going to beat the Celtics. You almost have to be committed to taking three-pointers and hoping you hit a whole bunch of them to beat the Celtics. And the Hawks aren't a very good three-point shooting team. When you get a 15-point lead against the Hawks, Celtics did it, and they just kept going from there. It's going to be hard for them to come back in games. So what's next? 3-1 road trip with the victory Monday night in Atlanta, next 2 at home. Home for the Warriors Wednesday. Home for the Brooklyn Nets on Friday. First matchup of the season between Brooklyn and the Celtics. So no Brown again tonight. Again, you have the luxury of where you've gotten off to a great start to the season, where last year you won 5 in a row, lost 2, then won 6 in a row. 11-2 through the first 13. Right now, 7-1 through the first 8. You already have a 4-game win streak and a 3-game win streak, which is current. So, Brown, get healthy, right? So, it's go time against the Golden State Warriors. This one's been talked to death. Steve Kerr is going to get booed like we've never heard someone in the new TD Garden get booed before. I mean, the boos are going to be loud, right? They're going to go after him. Your fans are going to go after him on Wednesday night. Keep it clean. Keep it respectful. Keep it safe. But he's going to get booed. But, it's go time. But through 8 games of the season, the Celtics are not going to make this bigger than it is. It's a regular season game in November. Does Jayson Tatum want to have another great first quarter? 26 at the half? He may say, you know what? I got 26 at the half. I'm not going to finish with 28. Tatum, must-see TV Wednesday night. Chip on his shoulder. I think we've already established there's a chip on the shoulder. It's almost as if the Celtics team of 24-25 is saying, you know what? We won 1, but in the history of the Celtics organization, we need to win back-to-back. Almost feels like that in some ways. But I think Tatum, we all see it. We've said it since the summer and the Olympics wrapped up. He's going to 26 at the half on Wednesday. Whatever the FanDuel odds are, take Jayson Tatum, right, on Wednesday. So 2 in a row at home. And then Milwaukee on Sunday, at Milwaukee. Giannis was out of the lineup in a 2-point loss against the Cavaliers. I don't know where it starts to go in the right direction. And things point north for the Bucks, but losing by 2 and, a struggle. They're on the struggle bus right now to open up the regular season. I don't think they're cutting the coach again. I don't think Doc Rivers is going to walk away. By the way, we're going to close with this. All right. Steph Curry did play against the Wizards, and the Warriors off to a great start. He was questionable. He did play. He's dealing with a left ankle strain, was in the lineup. Last time the Celtics played the Warriors, you may remember it because it was memorable. March 3rd, last spring at TD Garden. Celtics, 3rd largest winning margin in franchise history, winning 140-88. Do the quick math. That's plus 52. Celtics became the first NBA team in history to record 3 50-point victories in a single season with that win against Golden State, again winning by 52. Jaylen Brown had 25. Jayson Tatum had 22. 47 points combined in the first half. Celtics had 82 at the half. I don't know if we're going to see the same thing. We're going to see a lot of threes between the Warriors and the Celtics Wednesday night. We do know that. In that victory last March 3rd, winning by 52, Al Horford went over 14,000 career points in the win. Horford, at that point, became the sixth player in NBA history, I love the history, became the sixth player in NBA history to record at least 14,000 points, 8,400 career rebounds, 3,400 career assists, and 1,200 career blocks. Celtics matched their season high in that game with 25 made three-pointers. Steph Curry scored just 4, did not play in the second half. So there's a little history, recent history between the Warriors and the Celtics. Hey, don't forget, your favorite podcast is now a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Celtics Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for the free Locked On Celtics newsletter at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with all the news with the Locked On Celtics newsletter. We want to thank our sponsors, BetterHelp and FanDuel. Off Tuesday, back at it with the Celtics home against the Golden State Warriors on Wednesday. As always, we do appreciate the comments. As always, we do appreciate you checking in with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. We do thank you for making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales and the Locked On Celtics postcast your first listen every day. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Again, we remind you we go live within minutes of the last buzzer, of the final buzzer, with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. We'll do it again Wednesday, talking Warriors Celtics, and maybe talking about a fourth straight victory for the Celtics as they're home for the next 2. Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team, your Celtics, every day.